Hello and welcome to the Wellness Rock Show with your host, Stephanie Deal, where we dive deep into women's hormonal health, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, and financially. Together, we will discover through these 5 pillars how God designed our bodies to consume proper nutrition and how that applies to the rest of our lives. Here we will unravel all of the education and expertise that you need to get your body and your hormones back to where they need to be. As a disclaimer, I am not a doctor and I do not provide medical advice. Please speak to your primary physician before starting or stopping any medications. What is up, y'all? What is going on? I am so happy for you guys to be here today. We have a very interesting thing going on today where I am up north. So if you hear some dogs barking in the background or you hear an airplane flying like you do now, which is very, very rare because there's not typically airplanes up here, but if you hear some weird noises in the background, it's nature. Well, I guess the airplanes aren't really nature, but you know what I'm talking about. So you might hear some leaves blowing in the wind, which is absolutely beautiful. If you do not get out in nature, that really fuels your mental, emotional, even physical well-being to have a play in your optimal wealth. So definitely get out in nature, smell, breathe, ground yourself. It's so good for your mind, body, and soul to do that stuff. So highly recommend getting out in nature. I've been coming up north since I was 6 years old. So this is a part of me, and honestly it's a really big goal of mine to move up here by the time I'm 30. So definitely working towards that every day, and I'm just grateful. And then if you're watching this, you see that there's just this beautiful blue sky in the background, and it's absolutely amazing. So happy for you guys to be tuning in today. We're going to be talking about something that's super, 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 super important to implement into your life, and that is time management. So with that being said, we're going to really jump right into it because there's a lot to talk about within this. So there really are so many benefits to time management. When you can really manage your time well, you're going to create so much more time freedom, financial freedom, create all of these things in your life because at a point you were able to, well, not just at a point, but throughout your life, you're able to manage your time correctly. So therefore, you're going to create more there's more benefits in your life that you're going to create, and you're just going to feel better over time. So I really want to relate this back to a book that I read called The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And this book is so, so good. Highly, highly recommend reading this book if you have not read this book. But in one part of the book, it talks about the 4 boxes of productivity. One box is urgent and important. This is where things need immediate action, and you want to kind of stay out of this quadrant because you don't want your tasks to really get to this point where they're urgent, immediate. You want to kind of be ahead of the game. Then there is a quadrant called not urgent but important. So this is the quadrant where you want to be in the most, because that means that you're planning, you're organizing, you're developing, you have a schedule. These are things that are working towards your long-term goals that are planned, but they're not necessarily urgent because you haven't let them get to that point yet. Then we have urgent but not important, and these are tasks that demand immediate attention. They need to get done, but they're not really contributing to your goals. So this quadrant can be really delegated to people. This can include some emails, some phone calls, some things that just need your immediate action, but aren't necessarily propelling you towards where you want to go. And then we have not urgent, not important. So this one is where we don't want to be at all. This is kind of just distractions, can really consist of scrolling on social media, time wasters, just things that aren't really serving you in order to get you to where you want to go. So when you are focusing on these 4 boxes of productivity, you can start to create more benefits in your life. So when you are prioritizing time management, you can increase productivity and efficiency. You can reduce your stress because you're not going to be stressed out about meeting all these deadlines if you're not in that like urgent and important. You'll really reduce your stress by staying in that not urgent but important category, because you are planning and scheduling all of these things to make sure that you get all of these things done because you know how important they are, but they're not necessarily urgent, which is going to raise your cortisol, which is going to raise your stress levels and all those things. So you're going to have better decision-making skills. So when you're not super stressed out, you're going to be clearer. You're going to have that clarity to be able to make better decisions, to achieve your goals, to advance your career, whether you work a job or you have a business or you're a stay-at-home mom. Like, all of these things and managing your time will help you to be clearer, make better decisions, do things more efficiently. Creating a work-life balance. A lot of us, especially small business owner entrepreneurs like myself, don't necessarily have a work-life balance in the beginning. That's what we're all striving to work towards and striving to create in our lives, because that work-life balance is so very important. So your business is not like your whole entire life. So creating that work-life balance is a reaction of time management and time freedom. It enhances focus, it increases accountability, it increases your free time, and it really increases your personal growth. So when you're at a point where you're managing your time correctly, you're scheduling things, you are prioritizing the most important things, like, you're going to grow so much because you're going to be able to pour more into yourself rather than just like your business, and be able to really like pour back into yourself and prioritize yourself, prioritize your needs and wants and desires. So that's going to allow you to create more personal growth in your life too. So how, like, really, when you're thinking about this, what comes to you? Like, when you're, I don't know, maybe you're switching around some laundry right now, or you're driving to work, or you're listening to this at work, whatever you may be doing right now, what is coming to you? Like, does this resonate with you? Like, do you struggle with time management? Are you someone that, like myself sometimes, like, this is something that I've really had to develop over time, because especially with opening a business, like, that urgent but important box can get filled up really quickly because you're like putting it off, and then it's like, bam, it's due, and you're like, shoot, this is very important, but now it's urgent, and I could have kept it in that important but not urgent category, but now because I've let all these things build up and I prioritized it over other things, now it's in this urgent but important category. Now my stress levels are rose. Now I'm super stressed. Now I need to get it done. So it's really about figuring out how you can start moving things around in these different boxes to keep them in those boxes to ensure that you are getting them done at the correct time that they're supposed to get done. What are some tactical things that we can really do to create time management in your life? First and foremost, like, if you're not planning to succeed, you're planning to fail. So if you're not planning your week, or planning your month, or planning your year, or planning your day, you're planning to fail. Because if you don't have a plan on what is going on and what you're doing and how you're going to get from point A to point B to point C to point D, like, you're gonna kind of go off track. You're not gonna be clear that, like, okay, I need to go here, and I need to turn left, and I need to go straight, and I need to turn right. You might turn right, turn left, turn right, turn left, turn right, turn left, and therefore you're not gonna get from point A to point D because you don't have a clear goals, you don't have a clear plan of where you're going. So what we can really do is plan out our week. I love planning out my week before it even starts. It makes me very clear on what I have going on that week. And yes, things are going to come up during the week where you're going to have to add it to your schedule. You're going to have to change things. You're going to have to move things around. It's not going to be perfect, but you have to adapt. You have to be able to adapt on the spot, because it's, like I said, it's not going to be perfect, and it's not going to go how you always want it to go. So planning your week before it starts, getting everything on the calendar. When are you doing each activity? How are you doing each activity? Are you taking some time to put towards this? Really get clear on what your week is going to look like. And then each day, hello, Mr. B. I don't know if you hear the bzzz. So before your week starts, you want to make sure that you're planning out your week. And each day, you want to make sure that you're planning out your day the night before. So really knowing what you have on the calendar for the next day, what can you do to be more efficient with that? And like little things like, did you take out your clothes the night before? Because that actually takes quite a bit of time in the morning. If you're not thinking about it and you don't know what you're wearing, like you want to make sure that you're planning out your clothes the night before. Did you make your lunch? Do you know what you're eating? Did you meal prep at the beginning of the week so that you have meals and you're fueling that physical and you're getting your nutrition? Like you're putting that and making sure you have all of that correctly in your week too. Just plan. Make sure. Ooh. There's like a lot of noises. That bee got really close to me. But making sure you're planning, making sure you have your clothes out, making sure you have your meals prepped. Are you putting your exercise, like workout routines on the calendar ahead of time too, so that you make sure that you're getting those in as well, so they're not being pushed to the bottom of the barrel? Because we know that when we have our physical foundation, our nutrition, our sleep, our exercise, when we're focusing on that and then intertwining all these other pillars to create that optimal wealth, that's really what we're trying to create, is optimal wealth in our lives. So make sure that, referring back to the 4 quadrants, do the urgent and important things first, but try not to have too many of these. So when your day begins, make sure that you're getting those things done so that by the end of the day, you're not like, oh crap, these things are urgent and very important, and now I've waited till the end of the day to do them, and now I'm stressed out. Don't do that. Get them done early, first thing first. Try not to have too many of them. And then schedule the urgent but not important. Make sure that you're making these a priority, because these are really going to be the things that are going to put you from point A to point D at the end of the day. So make sure that you're scheduling those in, whether that be for the week or the month or the year or wherever you need to schedule those in, because those are really important. Make sure that you are delegating those urgent but not important. Find somebody else to do these things. When, there's a lot of things in our lives that we have to do, like laundry and dishes. If you have kids, oh man, that's a person that you can delegate your dishes to. I don't have kids, so unfortunately I have to do my dishes. But, I do own a business, and I've just hired an email marketer, and I've just hired a social media manager. So these are things, if you're listening to this as a business owner, what can you delegate to somebody else? I'm currently reading a couple different books right now. When it comes to reading books, does anybody ever have a hard time like finishing the book, or is it really just me? Because sometimes like I have such a hard time finishing a book because either another book pops up that I want to read, or that's typically what it is. Like I start reading another book and then I never finish the book, and then that cycle just keeps continuing. Because I start reading, I'm like, oh, this book might be really good for the season that I'm in. And then I get into that book, and then another book pops up, and it's like, okay, I want to read that book. But Ben is reading a book right now, and he wanted me to read some pages, and it really, really resonates with the season that I'm in within my business. And it's about like hiring people and moving your business from like infancy to adolescence to maturity. And it's just like, dang, okay, like I'm in this, I'm doing this, I'm delegating things, like, because when you're one person, you can't do everything yourself. Like you need a team. And I'm grateful for my team. I really am. Because they are allowing me to manage my time better, to do the things that I haven't necessarily been able to do lately, and to just ensure that our business is growing and developing and just continuing to grow and develop over time, because we have goals. We want to get to a certain spot. So we're going to get there. And then really eliminating those not urgent, not important, those time wasters. Like I'm not at my business scrolling through social media. If I'm on social media, I'm doing something for the business. Are you scheduling time to work on your business, but you get distracted scrolling on social media? Like, should you be reading, or are you distracted scrolling on social media? I feel like social media is a big time waster. Like it's cool to sit there and like scroll on social media. Like that's how like we grow our business, is honestly through social media. So it's really important to do that. You can learn a lot on there. Like there's many benefits, but there's also many cons as well. So just be sure that you're using it for the right things and you're prioritizing what you need to prioritize first before you go sit on the couch and scroll through social media mindlessly. If you're scrolling on social media to find a specific video that's going to help you get to where you want to get, that's not mindlessly. You have an intention, but if you're just scrolling there, scrolling